Hi there, Redneck Preppy with you, and today we got ourselves a video on the Mosin Nagant M91 30 PU sniper rifle, or perhaps more accurately, how to tell whether what you own or what you're looking to buy is the real thing versus a reproduction or an outright fake. It's no great secret amongst collectors that the number of fakes and reproductions of these rifles is staggering. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are paying prices predicated upon it being a real one when in fact it is actually just a reproduction or a fake. I'm going to go through with some pictures, some things that you should be looking for, which will give you an indication of whether it's a real or a fake. It's important to note that sometimes you can get mixed master rifles where the rifle isn't a PU sniper rifle, but the mount and the scope are real, or vice versa. It can get very complicated. So this is just an introduction. There's a lot more research that you can do with a lot of different resources that will probably drill down even further. The number of scopes, legitimate scopes, for example, is incredible, and they all have different markings. So anything I say about the markings on my rifle doesn't necessarily, my scope doesn't necessarily hold true for all of them. Like I said, this is just an introduction and a quick guide to telling the difference between a real one, and that's what this is, versus a fake or reproduction. Let us begin.
Let's begin, perhaps most appropriately, with the scope of the rifle. Now up top you'll see the elevation turret, and PU scopes for rifles are graduated up to 1300 meters. If you see it graduated up to 2000 meters, that's either a genuine PU scope for a KPV machine gun or a 23mm cannon like the ZU-23-2 anti-aircraft autocannon. Those tend to be in silver or black and bronze. Now towards the eyepiece, you will see that the scope's tube is two separate pieces. If you see a spacer of about 1/8 inch in width between the scope tube and the rear ocular housing, that's a fake scope. The real ones are two pieces of metal tube joined together. Now, also on the turrets, you'll see 4 nuts. On real scopes, those nuts always have rounded tops. If the nut head is flat, that scope is fishy. Now, unfortunately, it seems some reproductions and fakes are showing up with rounded tops, so be aware. Also, if you see Phillips head screws there, again, not legitimate. Now, for the glass, obviously if you see some sort of coating, anti-reflective or otherwise, that's a fake. The reticle on a real scope will move when you adjust the turrets. Now moving on to the scope's serial number. This one is a little bit harder. A lot of people will tell you that the number portion of the serial always starts with the year of manufacture. So a scope manufactured in 1943 would be 43XXX. That's not true. I've seen serial numbers start out in the teens all the way up to the 60XXX on legitimate scopes. Also, scopes manufactured in Hungary for their versions of the M91 30 PU and M52 sniper rifles have a different serial scheme. One clue, however, is if you come across a few PU sniper rifles or scopes and they all have the same serial number, well, that rates a Seinfeld reference.
Fake, 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 fake.
Moving on to the scope mount, you'll find a lot of the fake mounts made of aluminum, not the cast iron of the originals. Now, the original scope mounts were milled, so if you look on the inside of the mount that is against the rifle, you should see milling marks. On the left, you see milling marks made by the workers at Izhevsk, while on the right are marks typically made by the machines at Tula. If it's smooth, it's probably an Asian copy. Now also the mount to base connections should be rounded off, not squared. Now an important note, many of the good reproductions out there have scopes and mounts made in Ukraine. They're actually using the original equipment to make these reproductions, so that does add a bit of complication when determining legitimacy. Now, where the mount attaches to the rifle, the wood remaining, that which was cut away, should obviously not look like a relatively recent cut, and nor should it be lacquered. The cuts will be even and smooth, and there won't be any finishing on the cut edge. All cuts will also be at 90 degrees to each other. Now, incidentally, a lot of people raise an eyebrow at the electro-penciling of numbers on the mount. That's totally legitimate. If you ever see something that looks like laser etching, that's a reproduction or a fake. Now, onto the rifle itself. Development work on the M91 PU sniper system began in 1942 after an experiment with SVT-40 snipers, for which the PU scopes were originally intended, failed. Production of the M91 PU snipers primarily ran from 1942 to 1944, with a few manufactured from 1945 to 1947, and there was reportedly production into the late 1950s by Hungary. If you come across a Soviet PU sniper with a rifle dated before 1942, that's a reproduction or a fake. Now, way out on the business end of the rifle is the front sight. Now, as most people know, the standard M91 rifle was sighted in with the bayonet, which was expected to remain on the rifle at all times. Now, obviously, that wouldn't hold true with sniper rifles, so they were sighted in without bayonets. In fact, they weren't issued with bayonets, so that actually caused a slight change to the front sight post. The standard front sight post is generally in the center of its hood, which is on the right side of this picture, but the front sight post on a sniper rifle, which is on the left side of this picture, tends to be slightly offset to the left and a little taller than its non-sniper version. To denote that these were sniper rifles, or snajperskaya provodnaya, roughly translated means tested for use as sniper, the Izhevsk factory used a C in a circle proof mark, while Tula used a CH marking as sniper grade, as you can see from this picture of the receiver. And I've also read that Tula also stamped rifles with a C and what looks like an upside down U. The trigger on a PU sniper rifle should be reasonably crisp with a shorter and less mushy take-up than a standard infantry rifle. Now, it can be difficult to determine whether a bolt handle is real or fake. A bolt should be serial numbered to the rifle. Legitimate sniper rifles were made with the bolt handle extended and then turned down. If you see a bolt handle that was obviously cut off and then welded in a downwards position, or badly hammered, or somehow otherwise joined to the bolt, it's a fake. The real deals have a nice and even radius from where it joins the bolt to where it ends its terminus downwards. There may be a flat spot on the underside of the bend from the anvil from the bending operation. If your bolt handle unscrews from the bolt body, well, yeah, it's a fake. And there you go. This wasn't exhaustive. Believe me, the rabbit hole on how to determine real versus reproduction or fake goes a lot deeper than this. I just wanted to present you with some obvious tells that you could look for in determining whether a rifle is a legitimate example of an M91 PU sniper rifle. If you're interested in going in through the looking glass, a search on the web and books will fill your cup on this subject.
Well, hopefully that helps you out a little bit. As with all things, fakes and reproductions change, quality goes up and down in them, and in general, actually, the quality of the fakes is going up, so it's always getting a little harder to tell all the time. However, hopefully this video helps you out a little bit in determining whether you're looking at something that's a legitimate PU sniper rifle or a fake. As always, I hope you have a great day, and may all of your shots, particularly in your PU sniper rifle, ring true. Take care.